All right, you should have your notes open from yesterday. We're going to continue learning about layout, and we're going to start with user interface. User interface, this is anything that the user, that's the person who's using the app, interacts with. It can be buttons or images or text or video or if you have them touch the screen, it's what's called a canvas. It monitors their touch. We're going to use one of those. Anything that the user uses to interact with the app is called user interface. We're going to talk about some of the ones that we're going to use for our first apps. And the first one's kind of tricky. Text boxes versus labels. And why it's tricky is because every time in the past that we've ever used a text box, it has been a box that you put in text that somebody else reads. But in App Inventor, a text box is what allows other people to type in a box. So if you think about the box you use for to put in your username or your password, that would be a text box. What we've usually called a text box is what's really a label, and that's a text that we want other people to see. So a label is what we usually call a text box. We won't use text boxes for this first app. We'll only use labels. So if you pull over a text box, delete it, and then pull over a label. Label's what we want. The other two things that we're going to use is an image. That's just a digital picture, and a button. And that's just an element that the user can use to interact with the app. There we go. So what we want to do is we want to put these things onto our app that we've been working on, but we don't have enough room here. So what we need to do is we need to create another screen. So we're going to click on Add Screen, and usually we would want to change the name of our screen. But since we only have two, we're going to have a home screen and screen 2. So we're just going to leave it as screen 2. It should be okay. And it will give us a blank screen just like we worked on yesterday, which we can pull some things over. So all I want is I'm going to have some text at the top. I'm going to use a label at the top to say my name. And then I'm going to have a picture in the middle. And then I'm going to have a button to take me back to my home screen. Okay. And like we talked about yesterday, everything we put on the screen, we want to put in a arrangement. So I'm going to have 3 different arrangements here. I'm going to have a horizontal arrangement at the top, the middle, and the bottom. And I'm just going to name those top, middle, and bottom. And I don't want them all to be set to automatic. I want my middle to be big. It's going to be a picture of me. So I'm going to make my width fill parent. And I'm going to make my height. I want this to be the biggest one. So I'm going to go 50% on the height. The other ones are going to be 20% on the height. And the width will be fill parent. So I have 3. So I have 3 arrangements here, 20%, 50%, and 20%, and they're all fill parent the width, so they take up the whole screen. And then what I want to do is I want my label to be in the top one. I want an image in the middle one and a button on the bottom one. And you can see these are all just blank, right? The text just says text for label 1. The picture, I can't see anything. It's just an icon. And the button says button text for button 1. So in the properties, just like we did yesterday, let's change the color. and I want this home. And I want my button to be down here, the bottom right. So when I want to move things around, this is why I use arrangements. I'm going to go right and bottom. For my other ones, I want everything to be in the middle. So center and center and center and center. And let's change our label. So it's similar to how we changed the button. I can find the text for label 1. I'm just going to say Mr. Craft. And I want that to be bigger, so I'm going to go to font size, make it real big. And the image is a little different, okay? It's kind of like the web lab. We have to upload the image before we can use the image on our app. So there are 2 ways to do that. You can either click on the upload file here. This is a good one to use if you have a whole bunch of pictures to upload. You can click on upload file and upload a whole bunch. You can see I've got my picture here already uploaded. Or if you're just doing one, you can upload it here. Or if you've already got it uploaded, all you need to do is tell it which picture to use. So you can either go upload file and upload a new picture, or just say, I want this picture that's already uploaded, and just click on it and say OK. Okay, that's way too big. So I need to change the size of my picture, and I'm just going to go fill parent, and then that should take up my, there we go. So it's a nice picture of me. So I've got 3 arrangements. I just named them top, middle, and bottom. Okay, I changed the size of my arrangements, and then I just put in my labels, image, button. Okay, and I just changed the properties of each. Okay, so what we want to do now is we want to make it so that when this button is clicked, it takes us to our first screen. And then we'll make it so that when I click this big button here, it takes us back to our second screen. In order to do that, I have to code. What the heck does code mean? Code is the instructions that tell the program what to do. This is also called the control layer. So yesterday we talked about the view layer. This is the control layer. And when we code, we use what's called an event handler. And this is the code that sets off the other code. So sometimes it's tricky to, we know what we want our program to do, but we kind of have to figure out how to make it start doing that almost. The event handler is in the shape of a C, and it's a block that holds the other code inside of it. And I'll show you an example here in a second. So whenever we write code, we want to think about, we want to think like the computer thinks. And the computer thinks using flowcharts. So this is a real simple flowchart for what we want to happen, right? So so the program is constantly checking the button to see if it's clicked or not. So if it's not clicked, it checks again. If it's not clicked, it checks again. And then when it is clicked, it's going to open screen 2 and then stop. Or in our case, we're going back to screen 1 and then stop. Okay. So this is a real easy one. This makes it real easy to figure out what the event handler should be. It's just going to be, is the button clicked, right? So one reason I really like this program is because it separates the design view or the view layer from the control layer. So here's our view layer. Obviously, we can see it. And then this is our control layer. And this has all these drawers. So if you've ever used Scratch, it's very similar to Scratch. There's all these different drawers. These ones here, these are called our built-in drawers. These are always here. Okay, these are always going to be here. These drawers down here are specific to my app. So if I look here, I've got my top arrangement with label, my middle arrangement with my image, my bottom arrangement with my button. And look here, I got the same thing here, and these are drawers, so I can click on these, and it has all the, each one has a specific. So this is code specific to the label, and this code is specific to the button, which is what I want, right? So when button is clicked, when button 1 is clicked, that's my event handler. Notice it's shaped like a C, and it's just this code here. Is button 1 clicked? That's what we're testing. If it is clicked, what do we want it to do? We want it to open screen 1. So I'm going to go to Control and open another screen, screen name, screen 1. Okay, and that's all the code I need. When button 1 is clicked, do open another screen, screen 1. Okay, so I found the event handler in the button drawer down here. And then I found this code here in this top drawer here. Open another screen, screen name. Okay, now it's done, but when I click this, nothing happens. That's because this code can only run on the tablets. Do this, get your code on here, and then we'll talk about the tablets.